Hello there everyone, welcome back to another episode of Conquer British English. This video was kind of requested by one of you guys. The subscriber was basically asking about how to not sound fake British. You know, a lot of you guys have been messaging me saying that, you know, you're struggling with the fact that as you're trying to change your accent, it doesn't sound natural and people can spot the fact that it sounds fake. Let's first of all discuss what it means to even sound fake. What does that mean? I think you're worried about, you know, people spotting the fact that maybe you grew up with a particular accent and now you're trying to change it and that's apparent. Perhaps someone can identify the fact that you're not from a particular place. So say, for example, you're based in Mumbai and you're speaking to someone from London. A lot of you guys have been kind of expressing how that person from London somehow can immediately identify the fact that you're not from London and the fact that you're from elsewhere, and suddenly that creates a sense of difference and you guys are being treated differently basically based on how you sound. I wanted this video to tackle that, to kind of give you some tips to help you sound more natural and basically to stop people thinking that you're faking the British accent, because that's not what we want. We want to sound natural, and we want to communicate better with the people around us. A good example is my really good friend from Malaysia, who explained how, you know, she was brought up in Malaysia, but as she was schooled in it was called an international school, where they had the British education system in this school, and they had British teachers, and she essentially naturally picked up the British accent. But you can still hear the influences of her mother tongue very slightly. And so when she studied at university here in London, apparently people kept telling her, why are you faking the British accent? But for her, it was just like, well, no, I'm speaking naturally. I'm not really thinking about it. I am just speaking naturally. So in this video, we're going to be discussing some things to help you sound more natural and kind of stopping you from faking the British accent. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, as I do make 4 videos a week, all to boost up your English skills, so don't miss out. The first tip to stop sounding fake is to stop overusing stereotypical phrases. So when you think of someone who's British, you think that they say jolly good day every single day in the morning, or would you like some tea? If they think in a situation is going badly, that British people say, oh, this is ghastly. Like, come on, guys. Like, really think about whether these stereotypical phrases are actually used in day-to-day life. I think by overusing particular phrases, it comes across as trying too hard. A lot of British people don't say a lot of these phrases all the time. Like, yes, they are phrases that we do say. I have to admit, we do drink a lot of tea. It is in our culture. But that doesn't mean that you have to kind of overuse these phrases. There's lots of other ways that you could also say these phrases in a more natural way. So instead of saying jolly good day, you would say, you having a good day? Or it's such a beautiful day outside. Or, wow, the weather's gorgeous, don't you think? So this leads on to the second tip, which is not to overuse particular pieces of vocabulary too, such as jolly. Or if you've seen my previous videos, I do teach kind of, you know, slang phrases, and I do teach kind of typical British phrases. But just because you've learnt about a particular phrase, don't overuse it. I think it should come naturally in conversation. Don't try and force it, and that will kind of help you sound more natural. And when you try and force using this particular pieces of vocabulary, then it will sound fake. However, I'm not telling you to not aim high, right? Aim high, aim for the stars, right? But if you're going to, you're going to have to perfect what you're saying. So, for example, if you do want to kind of, you know, invite someone in for tea, and you want to ask them, would you like a cuppa? Would you like a cuppa? You're going to sound fake if you kind of say it in a different way. For example, would you like a cuppa? Would you like a cuppa? Like, think about what you're saying here. Technically the phrase is British, but you're not saying it in a British way. So the intonation is wrong, the pronunciation is wrong, and the flow is wrong. For example, would you like a cuppa? It is kind of broken down. you're kind of pausing. It doesn't sound natural. You might be tensed up when you're saying it because you're so nervous about how you're coming across. Just relax and perfect it. Would you like a cuppa? Would you like a cuppa? Right? Or would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a cup of tea? So practice phrases until you're actually comfortable saying it in kind of like in a comfortable flow, rather than it being rigid, because I think that will also come across as fake if you're being rigid, and if you're not comfortable saying these kind of typical British phrases, then it's going to come across fake. Fourth thing to understand is that not all British people are posh. So if you try and act posh, then you're going to come across as fake. You speaking in a British accent does not equal posh. There's so many different British accents out there, and there's so many different British accents depending on your class as well. I'm going to make a video about this in the future with one of my YouTuber friends. That's a video you can look out for. But we will be discussing how kind of your class will influence your accent, and how your accent kind of highlights your class. Just because, I mean, you can be someone from a working class background, but also have a British accent. You can also speak in RP. And when you come to London, you realise everyone from all walks of life sounds posh just because that's what the media has kind of made it out to be, right? But what you realise is you don't have to act super posh and dress extravagantly and wear brands and things like that to showcase that you're posh. You can be totally normal, right? And you can be extremely humble, but also speak with a British accent. Right, tip number 5 is accent and culture. They're not two different things. They're not separate. Accent is intertwined with culture. Now, if you're just going to practice the accent without learning about British culture, you're going to come across fake, and people will catch you out. For example, you got to learn about cultural norms. You got to learn about what people like, what they dislike. You got to learn about British humour, right? So that when you're in conversation with someone, it's not just your accent talking. It's you're relating on many levels. You're relating on a cultural level, and when you do that, that's when also you start to sound more natural, because you just know what the right things to say are. For example, if there's people cracking jokes on a table, but you're not quite understanding, your accent's not the only thing that's going to help. You understanding British culture and British comedy and British humour will help you in that situation. So research what people find funny. To a certain extent, you do have to live here for that, to kind of interact with people, see how people speak, and experience the culture here. But you can also learn about the culture, and you can also watch TV shows which are British. Listen out for kind of witty lines. And if you don't understand those jokes, then research those jokes. Research why you think that's funny. And it will all start making sense with time. It is difficult, I'll give you that. That's why living here definitely helps. But there are other ways of getting around that and improving your knowledge of British culture to kind of help influence your accent as well. And also give your accent context and accent authenticity. Your accent definitely needs authenticity behind it. Number 6 is to really think about why you're learning the British accent. So, are you learning it just for fun, just to take the mick out of it, or are you actually learning it for a real reason that's close to you? Are you kind of struggling in social settings? Are you struggling to get a job? These reasons will help you treat it seriously, and when you treat it seriously, you will learn faster, you will progress in an authentic way, and help kind of streamline your learning so that you don't sound fake in the future. Number 7 is sometimes we might have practiced one sound and perhaps we might not have practiced another sound as well. So don't overdo one sound and then let yourself slip on another. So like one half of the word sounds British and then the other half just sounds like a mumble jumble of all sorts of accents. Say for example you're learning MLE, which is Multicultural London English, and you want to practice the word breathing. In MLE it would be breathe in, breathe in. So you would stop, that you would like get rid of the G at the end. So you would say breathe in. But then if you're still pronouncing the R, how it's pronounced in the Indian accent, for example, it would be breathe in. I'm breathing. I'm breathing heavy. So it's like a mix between London English and Indian accent, which it's kind of confusing. And then it's little kind of things like that where people pick up on. They'll be like, why did he pronounce it as breathing? Or, for example, the word tenner, which is a word for which is just like a slang way of saying £10. If you said tenner, oh, pass me the tenner, you rolling the R's at the end of tenner is going to give it away, and that sounds fake, right? So watch out for that and kind of practice the whole word before you start using it in day-to-day life. Number 8, we've got to think about stressed syllables. So, for example, this word on the screen, British people pronounce it as conservatory, but then if you have a beautiful British accent, if you're gonna pronounce it as conservatory instead of conservatory, that's gonna immediately give it away. That's gonna sound fake. Number 9, my last tip for you is just to relax. Honestly, it's just to relax. Sometimes when you are forming sounds with your mouth, if your tongue is too tight and your cheekbones are too tight and your muscles around your mouth are just too tense, sometimes we overdo it and it doesn't come across as natural. It doesn't come across natural. For example, the TH sound, th. I will have to make a detailed video about this at a later date. But, you know, if the TH sound isn't found in your native tongue, then you're going to be overthinking it and you're going to be trying to create this new sound that's new to you and kind of maybe stick your tongue out too much. And then when you're saying a word with the TH, for example, think. For a native British speaker, I'm not stressing, I'm not putting any of my muscles under stress. Think. But then when you're not a native speaker, you might tend to fall into the trap of tensing everything up and forcing the sound out of your mouth. So the trick is to relax and enjoy it. And that will really help you on your journey too. That's it for this video, guys. I really hope this video did help you. Let me know what your favourite tip was, and let me know if you're going to be trying some of these tips out at home. As always, you're welcome to connect with me on my Instagram, which is @ConquerBritishEnglish. And yeah, just wanted to leave you with one last message, and that's to love your identity. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio!